This is Cougar News.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Cougar News. I'm Gilbert Bernal, and here's the latest from the Cougar Newsroom. President Donald Trump uses online social media to voice his political beliefs to the American public. Are you fed up with political issues on your social media feed? Monica Rodriguez has the story.
Following Donald Trump's surprising win this past November, many people turned to social media to express their shock and outrage. Is this online debate just healthy discourse, or does it borderline on cyberbullying?
People who psychologically they just think that way. For me, if I ever feel like I'm being bullied or whatever, I always just say, like, just unplug. You don't have to be on Twitter. You don't have to be certain places, and even though it may be promotional or for your business, you don't have to be on it all the time. So I've always been of the camp that you should unplug if you're being bullied. Of course you shouldn't bully, but it's going to be really hard to stop anybody, and you can't stop everybody. So you just need to learn to disengage.
People disengage from social media is hard because Facebook, Twitter, and other media outlets holds the
tenor of society. And the people who engage in political debate reflect probably the people who are on the most extreme ends of our political debate. So if we're living during a time where there's a lot of anger between people on both sides of the aisle, that's going to be reflected in Facebook and maybe even magnified. I think the important thing to remember about cyberbullying and bullying in general is that when it happens, the worst thing you can do is suffer in silence.
The most insane thing a person can do is suffer in silence from social media bullying.
People writing their political views on social media, really, it's something that's almost unavoidable these days. We spend so much of our time and so much of our mind becoming part of a social community, including family and friends. The problem is, with politics, people have such unique views and individualized values.
Many people believe there's a fine line of posting your beliefs online or being a cyberbully. For the next time you click the send button, make sure you're aware. I'm Monica Rodriguez, reporting live for Cougar News.
Out from the ashes of the Holocaust comes a story of love, dedication, and survival. The tale of how two Jewish children managed to slip past the Nazi clutches was told at COC. Here's more.
What is your name?
Sarah.
Leon Melmed, author of We Survived, At Last I Speak, retold his personal experiences about how he escaped certain death during the Holocaust.
Yes, I'm a Holocaust survivor. Today, I speak not for myself, not for my sister, but mostly to recognize the courage and the heroism of a French Christian couple.
Leon credits his survival to his adopted parents, Henri and Suzanne Ribelou, the downstairs neighbors who promised to care for Leon and Rachel unexpectedly one early morning in Compiègne, France.
At that time, Monsieur Henri Ribelou pronounced a few words that would save our lives. And he said to my parents, "Do not worry, Mr. and Mrs. Malmed. We will take care of your children until you come back."
For nearly 3 years, the Malmed children and the Ribelous lived in constant fear of being exposed to the Nazis by the community and their neighbors.
We are hungry constantly for a year or 2 or 3. It's very tempting to say, "Well, I know where someone is," and get another ration card to feed yourself or even your children.
The Ribelou family put their own lives in danger to protect 2 Jewish children, never realizing the heroism on their own part.
Anyone in France who was caught hiding a Jew, a homosexual, a communist, a gypsy, or an enemy of the regime then was shot on sight or sent to a death camp.
In 1977, the Melmeds sought to gain for the Ribelous, the righteous among the nations, an honor bestowed upon individuals who selflessly protected the people hunted by the Nazis.
At last, after so many years of silence, I testify with the hope that my children, my grandchildren, my friends, you, the audiences that I address, will actually help to prevent repeating the mistakes of the past.
Reporting for Cougar News, this is Gilbert Bernal.
A massive storm hit Santa Clarita, and officials are preparing for the next downpour. Luis Gomez reports on how to prepare for extreme weather and what could be a very wet future.
If you thought there was a drought, there was a deluge. The Southland was swept by a massive storm on Friday, causing floods, downing trees, and stretching resources as authorities raced to keep Santa Clarita residents safe.
We had a significant amount of rain, mainly in our foothill areas.
It was pretty intense. Started mid-morning, a little later than I think they expected.
Reservoirs and waterways filled to the limit as the monsoon pummeled Santa Clarita. Authorities urge caution when approaching waterways.
Stay out of flood control channels. You know, even if you're going to take a look and everybody wants to know, oh, how's it look? What does it look like? You know, the edges of those, the dirt, edges can give way.
Vehicles damaged by felled trees left to await their fate as authorities race to keep roadways open. Now that the storm has passed, authorities are busy preparing for the next storm that could be right over the horizon.
We speak regularly with the National Weather Service and USGS when it comes to landslide areas, especially for the sand fire area.
We always constantly are monitoring the area. We're monitoring our flood control channels to make sure that debris is cleared from the previous storms.
Residents are warned to stay away from flooding roads.
Don't try to drive through moving water. Number one, you don't know what's underneath there. You don't know if the road has been washed away. You can't see it. You don't know how deep that water is.
Reporting for Cougar News at College of the Canyons, this is Luis Gomez.
This weekend, students from all across the Santa Clarita Valley will get to attend Media Day at COC, where they will get to hear from the brightest and the best from the media industry.
This Saturday, March 4th, students from all over Santa Clarita will get an opportunity to attend Media Day and learn from professionals from throughout the media industry.
And it's an opportunity on one day over the course of like 3 or 4 hours for students to come, high school students, college students, even down to junior high school students to come and basically learn from all sorts of professionals that we draw in from the field. That field includes animation, it includes journalism, sound arts, and film. This year, the ABC7 live van is back. It's gonna be parked right at the base of the building. I mean, how often you get a chance to look up close, at a news van?
With such a great opportunity for young people to learn from professionals from the field they might want to pursue a career in, Media Day is a can't-miss event.
Because of the fact that it's such an intimate environment, you're not in a big auditorium where there's 400 or 500 people in the room. You're literally in a classroom where there's 30 or 35 seats. You're 10 or 15 feet from the presenter, and it's an opportunity for you at the end of their presentation to actually raise your hand, ask questions, and you learn things about people and learn things about these folks that just I don't think normal people get a chance to learn unless it's in a situation like this.
Sign up at canyons.edu/Media Day before March 3rd to participate. For Cougar News, I'm Taylor Enns.
College of the Canyons Art Gallery hosted Lisa Adams' art exhibition. Here's Jacqueline Barrientos with more.
The College of the Canyons Art Gallery is hosting a Lisa Adams Art Gallery.
This is an exhibition of work from an artist named Lisa Adams, who's a local Los Angeles artist. It's all paintings. Lisa Adams is a very well-respected, well-known Los Angeles artist. She has been exhibiting for quite some time. She's a Fulbright scholar, and she's an educator. She's taught. She's even had, I think, 6 guest teaching what would you call it, awards, where she's taught in 6 different nations, and Finland, France, Japan, and some others. She's been painting her entire life, and it was primarily what would be called non-objective abstractionist. So if you looked at her work, you didn't see any real imagery. She's become really more of a pure, true sort of abstractionist in the definition of the term, which I won't go too deep into. But when you look at her work, you see a combination of imagery that you recognize. It might be quite real, juxtaposed with some abstraction. And
are we doing A7 again?
what you see a lot in her work is some very harsh depictions of life in Los Angeles. She lives in industrial downtown Los Angeles in a studio, and there isn't much wildlife or trees or grass or anything around there, so there's a lot of juxtaposition of the kind of harsh reality.
Let's do it.
Nature to come back into it and to take over. This show is up through March 23rd, and Lisa will be here on March 9th from 2 to 3 to speak about the work. And anyone that's interested, I'd really encourage them to try and come by. She's very engaging and fun and funny, and she can really fill in the blanks about her work in ways that I certainly can't. It would be a worthwhile experience.
For Cougar News, I'm Jacqueline Moranzos.
And that'll be it for tonight's edition of Cougar Newsbrief. Thank you for watching. For all the latest and local news, you can visit us on the web at cougarnews.com. And also be sure to follow us on Twitter. I'm Gilbert Bernal. Have a good night.